Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's doubleheader NASCAR 06 Total Team Control action. In this evening, we have two Busch Series races for you guys. Race number 1 at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway, followed by race number 2 at the California Speedway, of course now known as the Auto Club Speedway, for tonight's race. 425 miles of action with these two Busch Series races, and our driver Kyle Busch comes in with a pretty decent sized points lead, 120 over his teammate Brian Vickers. Both the Hendrick Chevys are off to a hot start this season. They both each have at least one win, with Kyle Busch in fact having 3 wins on the season and has won back-to-back, trying to go for 3 in a row tonight and potentially 4 in a row if he can get the sweep in the doubleheader. I do think this is going to be the hardest of the two races. We will be starting from the tail end of the field and both trying to challenge ourselves here, and we'll see if we can keep that top 10 point streak alive, or not top 10 point streak, but top 10 streak in general alive through both races this evening. We have not finished worse than 8th so far through the first 8 races. Thanks for everybody tuning in though. Hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we are about to get tonight's action underway. Ashton Moy and others welcome into the stream. Kyle Busch again starting at the rear. No practice, no qualifying. Green flag is in the air and we're underway as it'll be Brandon Miller leading the field to the green in the Reese's number 21 Chevrolet. And Clint Boyer, the two starting very deep in the field as well, just a few rows up ahead of Kyle Busch. And Busch is just kind of sit back, hold on tightly here for these first few laps, try to get a feel for his race car. 250 laps to try to get up there. So these laps will click by quick at this racetrack. It is a half-mile, very flat, triangular racetrack. This is basically Pocono. Pocono is a short track. Bobby Labonte in the 19 car to the lead, trying to get his first win of the Busch Series season. Hasn't won yet in the Cup Series either. Top 10 in points in both, in fact. Both seasons. Kyle Busch, on the other hand, in the Cup Series, 22nd in points after last night's race. Much later in the season there, plus he's a rookie versus in the Busch Series coming in with at least a little bit of experience. Who is Kyle Busch meet? Dark Lord of the Sith 6, thanks for tuning in. Honestly, I'm kind of scared to make a pass because the car feels very tight right now, I'm not going to lie. A lot of 3-wide racing going on through the field. I'm quite surprised at how much we've seen in the early going. Little contact as there's more 3-wide towards the back of the pack, and a little tempers boiling hot there for a second between the 106 and it looked like the 121. There was contact off the exit of turn 1, and then the 121 just kind of pinched him off going into 2, making more contact moving down the track. Kyle Busch got to make his first pass for position at the rear end of the field, but he is not going anywhere with just a swarm of cars in front of him. Looks like a hornet's nest. Busch overdriving turn 3, going to give up that bottom lane again. He'll quickly get to the bottom though, down into turn 1. Again, his car's very tight. More contact. John Hamilton now making contact. Another driver in the top 10 in points. He starts at the tail end of the field. Yep, Edwards is in the 60. I don't know that he's running this race. Most of the Cup guys don't run. I know Labonte's in the field, but most of the Cup guys don't run the fantasy tracks in this game. This is a fantasy track. A scrape into that inside wall in turn 1 for Kyle Busch. Now he overdrove the corner because of cutting the angle down a little too sharply. Easy to do though. No apron to really work with other than turn 2, but the track is so tight even in that end of the racetrack, and that's the tightest of the 3 corners. Not really going to see many guys try to use that apron. Busch locking those tires up into turn 3 as well, trying to keep it off the cars in front of him. Listening to a police scanner. Jeez. Two laps in a row that Kyle Busch kind of skirted the tires in turn 3. So hard to make passes. Track position so important at this racetrack. Kyle Busch feeling very loose on entry into turn 3, which is the most banked of the 3 corners on the racetrack. He has cleared the 184. Second car passed now by the 5 of Busch. We're already at lap 13. Busch under the 103. Clear. Definitely want to stay on the bottom as much as possible. 113 going to get a little bit of a good exit to turn 1. Kyle Busch drives it in deep, so close to that inside wall. Close as he could get, really, without hitting it. Allows him to get back to the inside of the 113 and clears him off turn 1. So committed when you hop back into the throttle so soon that you're going to clear that car on the outside because your momentum easily wants to take you up the racetrack. No matter how tightly you try to hold the bottom of the track or how little maybe you even get back into the gas. If you miss an attempt to try and pass, you really got to keep that car pinned down to the bottom as much as you can, too. Keep from losing the inside. So then you're just going to fall straight backwards. Oh, we got near trouble in turn 2. Big stack up that time that allowed for Kyle Busch to make another pass for position. And now he overdrives turn 3, and he's going to lose the bottom anyway to the 184, who's going to get underneath him now. Busch trying to hold the top. First time he's ran the outside today. Barely kept it off the wall off turn 1. He's going to lose not just 1, but 2 spots. Make that 3 spots, and that is exactly why you don't want to find yourself in the outside lane, because Kyle Busch literally lost 3 spots that last lap as a result. I don't know if this is going to be a 1 or a 2-stop race. The 18 car is driven by J.J. Yaley, by the way. J.J. Yaley was at Joe Gibbs Racing at the time. Wasn't in the Cup Series until 2006 season. This is technically the 2005 season, so he's still in the Busch Series. Jojo, thanks for tuning in. Definitely going to have to loosen this car up. I know I keep clipping the inside wall every now and then, so it's kind of scary to loosen it up, but it's so hard to make a pass because in the middle of the corner is where it really gets tight. To be so patient trying to get back to the throttle, and he was not patient that time and just stuffed the car in the wall in turn 2. Not the way he wanted to make a pass for position. Now that car is going to get bumped out of the way again in turn 3. It ended up looking like, and he lost another spot or 2, and I think he's going to cycle all the way back to last. Bobby Labonte leading the field. Busch already 11.8 seconds off the lead, which is a little bit concerning considering the fact that we are on a short track and he's still back in 39th after 23 laps. Tony Raines in the 33 struggling right now. He's dropping like a rock, going to lose another spot to Busch in turn 3. Great corner by Kyle Busch, one of the best times he got through turn 3. Clears Raines, also going to clear the fantasy driver into turn 1. Wade Selinsky, thanks for tuning in. Almost forgot it was on. Well, thanks for remembering. You're here. We got a doubleheader. Ooh, big block. 139 pulling up right on top of the 119 in turn 2. Kyle Busch makes a pass on the 163 car. That is for 35th. And if you're just tuning in, no practice or qualifying for both races of our doubleheader tonight. Kyle Busch trying to keep his top 10 streak alive to start the season. I don't care if he's a Cup Series regular in the Busch Series. That's impressive to start the year with 8 straight top 10s. Really, 8 straight top 8s. 116 way up the track. I don't think he had contact. I think he just missed the corner. And in turn 2, Busch crowds and clears the 119. Saw the opening down on the bottom under Michael Jourdain Jr. to try to take it 3 wide. First we've seen Busch try to make a 3 wide pass today. Contact with Jourdain. It did not work. Better than wrecking though. Despite the contact, everybody hangs on. Busch slides a little bit into turn 3. Trying to stay underneath the 110. Down to the apron through turn 2 and clears him. Such a treacherous racetrack. You want to talk about tight confines. It is so hard to not hit another car when making a pass. I mean, Pocono's hard to pass on. Imagine Pocono a fifth the size of what it actually is, and this is what you have. And that's why it's so hard to pass. Because of its unique triangular shape. Difference at Pocono, it's more aero, not so much here. It's just how flat and small the track is. It's such a fight for the bottom. Jourdain all over the place. Out of the rearview mirror of Kyle Busch. Mark DeMars and Furfur Express, welcome into the stream also. Yep, Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. I mean, that interval's not really shrinking, but it's barely growing at the same time, despite the fact Labonte's obviously got clean air and Kyle Busch doesn't. Busch got a little tight in turn 2, almost gave up the bottom to Jourdain. We saw when Busch ended up getting washed up to the outside, he lost 3 spots immediately after being on the outside lane for about a full lap before he was able to get back down to the bottom. It is costly. If you make a mistake, you gotta hope it's minor. JC1424, thanks for tuning in also. Yeah, definitely a lot of cars to pass. Davion West, Billy Kramer, also welcome into the stream. Bobby Labonte's in the lead right now. He's in the 19. Pole sitter was the 21 of Brandon Miller. And Labonte, I don't know if he got the lead on lap 1, but I looked up on like lap 3 and he was in the lead already. So I'm not sure if Miller was able to get any bonus points for leading a lap. Got a car blowing up on the inside of the racetrack right now going into turn 1. The whole field is stacking up. Kyle Busch tried to not make contact with anybody. It's Aaron Crocker in the 6 who is having issues. That could have been a lot worse than what it was. Luckily, and now, oh, the race leader, Bobby Labonte, stuck behind. The 149 crowding Kyle Busch, middle of the straightaway. They're still side by side. Busch crowds him but can't get around him, so the 149 just sideswipes Kyle Busch, randomly trying to hold on to 24th, and he sideswipes him again. And Busch hits him back and crowds him into the wall. He deserved that. He had that coming. I don't know why he was so upset. It's been like a month since we've raced the Busch series. I can't really remember what I did to that guy, if I did anything at all. But he was upset. I mean, there's no apron to get off the racetrack, so everybody was kind of stuck on the bottom. And I saw Crocker blowing up well before we got into the corner, but they checked up so quickly still. There were so many cars. Definitely some damage to Kyle Busch's number 5 Chevrolet. The good news is the field's more spaced out. Once he gets around the 108 car here for 23rd, if he can. Can't quite get around him in turn 2. He's off the throttle so much, trying not to make contact. Still trying to keep his nose underneath him so he doesn't give up a chance at the spot. Big block that time. 108 car about turned himself. Kyle Busch overdrives turn 2, puts it in the wall. He's going to lose more ground. He can get by the 108, though. He's going to have a little bit of clean air. And this is by far the most open space that Kyle Busch has had from the get-go in this one. Challenge is back on the 108 car again. Great corner by Kyle Busch. No wonder it was a great corner. Fastest lap for Busch today of a 17.444. 45 laps have already ticked by, though. It took an awfully long time to get up halfway through the field, and he was kind of lucky, even though he got into the back of a couple of the cars towards the tail end of the field. When Eric Crocker blew an engine, he still was able to pass about 6 or 8 cars. Rainer Martinez, welcome into the stream. No Torres, also welcome. Got 19 people watching, but only 7 likes right now, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as well. We'll have a NASCAR 06 stream tomorrow. It will be back to the Cup Series custom schedule season, and in that custom schedule season race, we will be heading to the Texas Infield Road Course, the Texas Roval, if you will, for the next race. And that will be at noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow on the channel. This track has pants. Yeah, there's a couple pairs of them on the infield. By the way, Kyle Busch ran an even faster lap a couple laps ago. I saw it was a 17.3 something. And he's got more clean air after making it. Well, there you go. Another fastest lap, 17.344. So when Busch is in the open, he's definitely got a fast race car. And the handling isn't as tight either. I mean, he's a lot more freed up. If he can get track position, I honestly wouldn't make an adjustment change. The problem is I don't know if we're going to get that starting that far back in the field, at least until later in the race. I mean, we're a fifth of the way home already. We're still 8.7 seconds off the lead, and there's a lot of cars to pass, both lead lap and lap cars, to get to the 19 of Labonte. I kind of don't want there to be a caution, at least right now, just because I don't want the field super tightly bunched together again, because I'm scared I'm going to make a mistake. I mean, like I said, it's so easy to lose the bottom lane, and if I do that, I'm going to get freight trained. Can't afford to have too much damage on the car either if we're going to want to make it to the end. Got to protect that points lead as much as we can, and I'm just trying to keep the top 10 streak alive, really. Both races tonight going to be difficult. I kind of stink at Auto Club in this game. I don't know why. I can't find the right balance of speed and grip. It's either my car is too grippy and it's not fast enough down the straightaways if I put too much downforce in it, or if I take the downforce out, I have a lot of speed, but I can't hang on to the car the entire run, so I end up having to make some mid-race adjustments to try to tighten it up anyway, so that's going to be a tough one. And obviously just starting deep in the field at this short of a track. We saw that in the Cup race at Dodge Raceway, but we had a lot more laps to do it, and we just had a faster car. What we did here. Shane Meal on briefly. Thanks for that update. I missed it. Still caution free though. Had a lot of races this week. Pretty much every race this week we've had 2 or less cautions. And they've all been Cup races, which are obviously longer than the Busch or the Truck Series races. So I'm quite surprised that that has been the case, because that was not the case through pretty much this entire gameplay that we've had with this game on the channel. Clint Boyer is already inside the top 15 up ahead, assuming most of these cars in front of Kyle Busch are on the lead lap. Trying to make a pass for position right now, not really able to do so. He's 7.7 seconds off the race lead. Boyer stuck on the outside in the 2. And he's trying to come from pretty deep in the field. I'm not sure. I haven't swapped him Vickers yet. I'm not sure where he qualified either. Busch looking low, turn 1, pretty good corner. Will he be able to make the pass though in turn 2? And he does. It's all clear. Really hoping this thing loosens up over the course of the long run. I think that's going to help the long run speed quite a bit too, just because of how tight it was at the start. Another pass made, it looks like in turn 1, all clear into 2. And now a dive underneath the 79 of Jeremy Mayfield. I don't believe he has cleared Mayfield yet. And now he's clear in turn 2. Trusted his spotter. Spotter was correct. Almost overdrove turn 1, and Busch is going to lose the bottom because of it. He's got to get down quickly. 163 gets by, a little contact with Mayfield. That's going to force the 5 even wider. Still can't get to the bottom. That was not good. Right back to 21st goes Kyle Busch, just like that. So overdrove the corner. I was so scared I was going to hit the wall. And then I went up the track in the process of not hitting the wall, so it's like it didn't matter. Go back to the far chase cam for now. Back to the inside of Jeremy Mayfield again. And 3 wide quickly as well. A little bit of contact. Kyle saw the hole, went for it. I think there was a lap car on the very outside. Then 2 passes of those 3 that last lap were for position. So back up to 19th again. And 9 seconds off the lead, by the way. So he was clicking away and really starting to cut into that deficit on Bobby Labonte interval-wise, but unfortunately, once he caught more traffic, he started to lose more time as he was about 7.7 off, and now he's 9 seconds back. Still picking up spots, though. That's the big thing if we do end up seeing a caution. Picker's going to have to be on it today. Try to get some spots for Kyle Busch as well. Great corner through turn 3 for Busch. 17.358. That was one of his fastest laps of the race that last time. Following the 2 right now of Boyer before the 152 slides down in front of Busch in turn 2. A lot of 2s in that sentence. The pants 500. 500 pants. Oh, I got you, guys. Yeah, that's what we should call it, though. The pants 500. Busch inside the top 15 now for the first time. I mean, the fact that the 2 and the 5 are kind of spaced apart for a little while, and now they're back nose to tail. Pretty impressive. Boyer goes wide in turn 3. Busch to the bottom. Hasn't cleared him yet, but there's going to be a lap car in the 135 that's going to be on the outside in the way. And actually, it's a lead lap car. But either way, slower car in the way. Busch barely slides clear and gets to the bottom quickly into turn 3 in the 13th place position, right behind, it looks like J.J. Yaley and Jamie McMurray. McMurray in the 64, Yaley in the 18. Just hit halfway on fuel, by the way, a couple laps ago as well. So this should be a one-stop race. If I do my math correct. Yeah, this should easily be a one-stop race. 17.205 that last lap for Kyle Busch. Where did that come from? Oh, McMurray chops off Busch. Kind of worked as an accidental bump and run. McMurray holds onto his car at least to keep from wrecking, but moves into the outside lane, and Busch is going to clear him in turn 2 now for 12th. And Yaley going 3 wide under a couple cars. Busch made a little bit of a mistake in turn 3. Gradually scraped the inside wall, but didn't hit it hard enough that it didn't throw him all the way up the track. Just slowed him down. Right front tire slowly starting to fade away on the 5. No surprise that the sharp angled corners, harsh braking to go along with it at this racetrack 3 times a lap. Matthew Dorda Bruno, thanks for tuning in tonight also. 48K forgot. Welcome into the stream. Over 20 people watching right now. Appreciate you guys tuning in on a Saturday night nonetheless. I feel like we always get a lot of people tuning in for when we're doing double headers, no matter what the series is. Seems like more racing, you guys like it. I can't do that all the time. But the races are just short enough with the truck and the Busch series especially, or if I'm running the off-hand 50% races, and that's one thing. Back to 7.7 seconds off the lead again for Busch. A couple cars almost making contact. Thought he was going to go 3 wide there for a second. Busch hesitated doing that as well. So close to the top 10 is Kyle Busch. Been a long time coming. Yeley goes up the track a little bit. Busch drove it in deep. Couldn't quite get underneath him that time. Passed for position on the 117 car, though, so Kyle Busch is now up to 10th. And Yeley now up to 9th. Yeley holding the bottom pretty well. Busch trying to get there. There's contact. Into turn 3 they go, and Busch is going to clear Yeley for 9th. Both cars lost a little bit of their control there, but held on to it enough to stay green, keep their cars going in the correct direction, and both kept it off the wall. Busch off the inside wall, and Yeley off the outside. Busch uses up the 103 now, so he makes a pass for 9th. Actually, still in 9th. That was a lap car. I think the next, at least 3 cars are a lap down as well. Remember, a lot more fantasy drivers than the Busch and the Truck Series, but I believe I remember seeing a lot of these at the tail end of the field when we started the race. True Assassin 86X also welcome into the stream. No snow where I live. Must have flurried today because we had a little bit of snow on like the edge of the streets. That was about it. It hasn't snowed much. It was cold though. I think the wind chill was 8 degrees when I went in to work this morning. Tomorrow it's supposed to be negative like 1, the wind chill where I live, so it's it is cold one. Extremely cold this time of the year. Like, that's January for us. Like, that's like winter, not fall. So it's kind of strange. I mean, it's supposed to be in the mid-40s like later in the week, so it's gonna warm up next week. That's 77 inches good now. I don't live in Buffalo. Both right side tires starting to fade on Kyle Busch's number 5 Chevrolet. 90 laps in, still caution free. Just made a pass in turn 3 for 8th. I mean, this is a slow climb, but we are getting there. The problem is again, you look at the interval, I don't think we've been less than 7 seconds off the lead the entire time. Bobby Labonte's got a fast race car. There's a reason why he's leading as many laps as he is. Dominating this race so far. Getting through lap traffic well. She has a little bit more open space. That's where he's really got to take advantage, is when he has somewhat of clean air like he does right now. Really put together some fast laps. Try to cut into that deficit, because you know you're going to end up losing time again when you start to pass other cars, especially lead lap cars that you're going to have to battle a little more with than, say, the slower lap cars. Return 2, a nice quick pass on the 119. Overdrove turn 3, though. Trying to get that rhythm back, because I didn't do so hot in turn 1 that time either. Yeah, I'll be doing NASCAR 22, just taking a little bit of a break from it. Oh, I think... Oh my gosh! Oh, we got trouble, turn 2! Multiple cars around, right in front of Brian Vickers. That was a huge hit for Kyle Busch in the wall. And turn 1, by the way, but a massive pileup. I saw the 157 car blowing smoke. The field was checking up. That's why Kyle Busch was starting to check up, and then they all wrecked in front of him. Luckily, Busch was on the binders quick enough, and he did not wreck himself. So caution flag is out. Kyle Busch is going to hit pit road. We're going to see if anybody else will pit. This will bunch the field back together. That was a huge hit. I think I hit the tire barrel at the exit of pit road, and it just popped the car up off the left side tires. 4 tires of fuel for Busch, but nobody else is going to pit, so that is very unfortunate. I'm not going to make any adjustment changes I'm not sure that Kyle Busch can make it on fuel to the end of the race. I pitted just in case we could. But I don't think that's going to be the last caution, I'd have to imagine. But a big wreck in turn 2, going to bring out our first yellow. And I just led a lap because of the shortcut of pitting, so that's nice. So if I don't end up in the lead at all yet today, I will get 5 bonus points. I'll take it. Not exactly the way I wanted to do it. It's not right. We technically didn't lead a lap, but I guess we did. Yeah, Shamiel passed him earlier, but then Labonte must have quickly got it back around. Christopher McComas, thanks for tuning in. And green flag back in the air. Labonte, oh jeez, they are stacking up on the restart big time. Couldn't even get off turn 3, and I was already all over the back of John Hamilton. Well, unfortunately, Kyle Busch has lost a lot of track position. The good news is he has fresh tires, but the bad news is he's got to literally pass every car in the field again because there are lap cars and lead lap cars in front of him. Shane Meal to the lead, lap and a half after the restart, gets by Labonte. That's huge because there's no lap traffic in front of him. And I would not doubt that the lap traffic might have costed Labonte. Oh, contact off turn 3 just up ahead. Jeremy Mayfield almost got turned middle of the front stretch. That left front fender was in the red on the damage indicator that flashed on the right-hand corner of the screen when I hit the inside wall right before that caution came out, so I'm kind of glad the yellow came out. Got a chance to fix that, because if I would have hit that inside wall a couple more times, that might have been the end of the race for Kyle Busch. Broken, yeah, I probably broke my thumb. Would have broken his thumb. Snapping that steering wheel. Three wide and tight off turn 3. I'm shocked at how much 3 wide racing we've seen today. More than you would see on pretty much any other half-mile track, and you wouldn't think that it would happen on a track like this, but we've seen quite a bit of it. So the fresh tires are, I would think, are working, but the problem is there's just so many cars, and again, it's very difficult to pass, so it's not really like he can put these fresh tires to huge use. Versus if he had them, if he was at the front of the field, he'd really be pulling away, but it's not the case right now. No room to pull away. We're going to have to be on high alert of cars blowing engines, though, because we've had that twice now. It almost caused a wreck the first time. Second time it did cause a wreck. We actually have another car blowing an engine, coincidentally, as I say that. But he did make it into the pits, and it kind of helped that there were some other cars pitting with him. So we stay green this time around. The green flag pit stop's going on right now. I guess the best thing that could happen is the entire field has to pit before the end of this race at some point. And that would include Kyle Busch. But Busch can go a lot further on fuel, so if he can lap the field and then we get a caution at some point, if Busch tries to run it all the way to the end, then Kyle Busch is going to end up lapping the field, and it'll keep him a lap down, except for the second place car would get the free pass. But, I mean, that would make his chances of winning a whole heck of a lot easier. The problem is, though, is if he stays out, say somehow we go caution-free to the end of the race, Kyle Busch is not going to cycle very far up towards the front of the field, considering he'll be on older tires for a long period of time. So he just gets ran over in turn 2. He's giving a lot of room to the lap cars coming out of the pits. And somebody behind him didn't get the memo. Kind of knocked the 5 up into the wall a bit. Caution, debris, turn 3. It was in the air for so long, I was looking for it, and I didn't see it, and then it ended up dropping behind me. It's like a kite. Like a 5-year-old dropped a balloon or something. It was just floating up in the air for a long time. Luckily, we didn't run it over. Caution flag is out. Now, we saw some pit stops, so the window may be open to the end of the race now. Kyle Busch is going to pit, but he is not going to take tires. It's going to be fuel only to try to gain track position back. He's only going to have, really, like, what, 5 to 10 lap older tires? So I'm thinking this is going to be a good call. I'm kind of glad I took tires when I did. We'll see where he's... Oh, I want fuel. No tires. And no adjustments. Broken nose. Bachelor skull fracture. Popping the left front tire up off the ground. Patrick Shadley, thanks for tuning in tonight also. Tomorrow's stream is at noon, Texas Roval for the Cup Series. I think Busch is going to cycle pretty far up in the running order. Oh, yeah. So that strategy actually worked if you think about it, because he's going to be restarting in 4th, and he was in 8th when the first caution came out. And they should be good to make it on field to the end of the race now as the green flag is back in the air just shy of the halfway mark. Busch tried to get to the bottom in turn 1. This is going to be a struggle here. Oh, I did not think there was a car there. Yeah, I knew this was going to be an issue trying to get to the inside. Oh, man. And there's a hole, and Busch was going for it. Oh, and there's contact behind. A car that just lost his hood made the contact. I think somebody else's hood's flapping. We might see another debris caution here before long, which means Busch is going to have to fight for the bottom again. Kenny Wallace leads for the first time today in the 22. Stacker 2. What is it, a Dodge? I think he drives a Dodge. Contact right in front of Kyle Busch. 3 wide as Raines really stuffed it in there late. No, this is not a 50% race. No way a Busch race would be 500 laps. That's for the Cup guys. Well, the good news is Kyle Busch only lost 1 position, losing all those, well, it wasn't really spots, but just having all the lap cars get around him on the restart. Tony Raines going, he's making a lot of 3 wide moves right now in that 33 Almirola Chevrolet. Getting by Jourdain as well as Jamie McMurray. Busch overdrives 3 into McMurray. Leaned on the 64 just a bit. Oh, most into him again in turn 1. And here comes Clint Boyer, which I believe would probably be a spot. Busch has to protect the inside. Almost gave it up. McMurray goes extra wide. Busch is going to be 3 wide middle off turn 3. And he's going to try to check up. He's going to let the 2 go and quickly gets in line. That was probably going to be a wreck if I entered in the middle 3 wide at this wreck. There's no way I would have made it out of there. Had to let both McMurray and Boyer go, so now back to 6th goes the 5. Power slides just a bit, getting into turn 1 again. I mean, he does have about 10 lap older tires. I wonder if that's playing a factor. I didn't think that was going to really be that bad. I mean, we're committed now. I'm not giving up track position again. It's halfway through the race, and we haven't led a single lap yet. I mean, technically, I haven't led a lap, but it gave me a lap lead. I'll remember this day if I win the championship by 5 points or less. And we've got another caution. It looks like the debris, I would have to imagine, didn't see major stack-ups on the track map. And it is debris off the 83. Another hood has flown off. Our second debris caution and our third caution of the race total. And we're just past halfway. Got some chili for dinner. Kenny in a Chevy. All right then. Well, we lost 1 spot on the 2 spots on the restart, and now we're gonna have to fight for the bottom again. There's a deck lid that's about ready to fall off. Busch gonna try to be a little more aggressive, getting to the bottom that time as he squeezed the 116. That's one way to do it. It worked. John Hamilton actually got by Busch for position on the outside. That's how slow Busch was into turn 1, trying to keep from wrecking as he took a huge dive down to the inside. Bobby Labonte's lost a lot of track position on these restarts. He gets put 3 wide middle now as he's stuck behind a lap car, and Clint Boyer gets around him for position. And Brian Vickers to the lead at the front of the field for the first time today, and I believe he is our 5th different leader of the race. Pole sitter Brandon Miller just to the outside of Busch. Not sure if he's on the lead lap or a lap down. Not sure when he might have pitted. And Vickers looking to pull away. Labonte quickly getting past a lot of cars though on the restart after falling back initially. John Hamilton squeezes underneath Boyer. Boyer loses the bottom, and Tony Raines. We got a car blowing up right in front of the leaders, and they're going to wreck it, looks like, right behind Kyle Busch. Heavy contact back there. That was a last-ditch effort to go to the outside for Busch. Lost a lot of ground, but it's better than pile driving into the back of another car. I thought they were crashing. I heard some sheet metal banging together back there, but we stay green. We might see some debris cautions off of that if they hit hard enough. Race is official. It will be official. Rain will not end this race today. Well, good news is we have a chance to keep the top 10 streak alive at 7. Ever since the string of yellows came out, I have not been able to pass anybody. Not for position, at least. In fact, I've actually lost a couple spots from 4th back to 7th. Big lockup of the front tires that time in turn 3. Still have a little over 100 to go. There's definitely time. Busch's car loosened up over the course of the long run. That seemed to have helped him on the last run, but he might have to wait a little longer for it to really come in this time compared to the rest of the field because, again, he's got slightly older tires. No, it wasn't Kenny Walls. Kenny's in 2nd still. I think it was the lap car that blew an engine because I didn't move up a position because of it. I'm still in 7th. Yeah, Red Wings playing the Blue Jackets tonight. In Columbus. It doesn't help, too, though, that this is the first time I've been with the really fast cars on the field all day today, and I think that's another reason why I haven't passed as many cars. So it's moving up here. Thought Miller was going to get to the inside of Labonte, but not quite. Tony Raines underneath the 10 car. Busch trying to stay close behind the 33 so he can then get by the 10, who is a lap down. And Busch is going to get around Michael Jourdain Jr. Tony Raines closes quite a bit in turn 1 on Clint Boyer in the 2. Kyle Busch underneath Raines, who went wide in turn 3. And Boyer down to block. Boyer's lucky the 33 overdrove the corner 5 extremely close to the inside wall without hitting it as he clears Tony Raines. And Raines is a lap down. Dang it. I thought that was for position. Still a lap down. Or, I mean, not a lap down, but still in 7th. Anytime I'm starting to make passes now, I keep thinking they're for positions, and they're not. There's only 6 cars in front of Busch, so that means every pass from here on out will be for position. Gets to the inside of Miller and Clint Boyer, sorry. And didn't realize they were 3 wide, but Busch got into the 2. He got shuffled up the racetrack, and Kyle Busch gets around both of them, and he's in the top 5 for the first time on speed in this race today. He's at 4th briefly on a restart, but that was about it. 4-car breakaway at the front of the field right now. Busch is about 1.4 seconds off the lead. I still think the guy to beat is going to be Bobby Labonte at this point in the race. We'll have to wait and see. Transfer to Brian Vickers at the line. They're coming up on a huge pack of lap cars. It's going to get even more interesting here briefly. I like the handling of the 57 car better than my own. John Hamilton to the inside of Kenny Wallace for second place in turn 1. They'll stay side by side into 2. That's going to allow Vickers to slowly pull away. Couple cars side by side at the tail end of the field. Vickers hitting his marks and starting to pull everybody. Busch down to 1.4 seconds off the lead. Clint Boyer all over his back bumper through turn 1. And now he overdrives turn 2 and he'll lose time. I think Boyer he got into the wall in turn 2. And he's going to lose a spot to Miller now. Back into 7th. Labonte goes wide. Busch just gets to the inside of the 19 off turn 1. Into turn 2. Side by side for 4th. 100 laps to go at the line this time by Busch into the 19. And still door to door into turn 1. Neither one wanting to give that spot up. And Kyle Busch is going to complete the pass. Slowly, and I mean slowly, working his way through the field right now. And the leaders are getting into lap traffic once again. A good little race going on tonight. An action packed all over. Vickers moving a lap car up out of his way. John Hamilton trying to pinch off the 22 of Wallace. Wallace overdriving turn 1. Couldn't take it 3 wide underneath the lap car and the second place car of John Hamilton. 1.1 seconds off the lead, but there's like 4 lap cars between. Oh, and I didn't realize that was a rival. That was the 149 again. That's the 3rd time he has tried to take out Kyle Busch. That was a big jump scare, by the way. Sorry if I scared anybody. That scared me. Oh, now Kyle Busch is 1.8 seconds off the lead. I didn't realize that was a rival. I wasn't paying too much attention. I held on to it. He didn't wreck me. We're still good. Hopefully that's the last time I see him today. Problem is we got a whole nother race we might have to deal with him yet. At least that's a bigger track. Maybe we won't see him at all. I guess we're going to have to see him at least once, considering we'll be starting at the rear of the field in that one also. Top 3, though, very tightly nose to tail. Kyle Busch is underneath Jamie McMurray in the 64. Murray really crowding Kyle Busch. That's because McMurray's going to take it 3 wide in the middle. Busch scrapes the inside wall a bit. Luckily, McMurray had the car on the outside clear because Busch went all the way up the hill and didn't want to lift any extra and still made contact with McMurray. Finally, no lap cars in front of Busch as he aggressively clears the car on his outside off turn 2, but he was clear. So it worked out cleanly, and now he's got a chance to try to play catch-up as he's 1.6 seconds off the lead. Laps winding by quickly. Because he hasn't been good on the restarts, he'd like to get up as high up in the running order as possible in case we get another caution as well. Refrain from dropping back again. He's lost at least 1 position every restart today. One to 3 on every restart. We've had 3 cautions. He's definitely closing in. Car's going to tighten up quite a bit, though, once he gets closer to him again. Kenny Wallace underneath Hamilton. Off of 3 into 1. Desperately trying to stay to the inside of the 120. Could allow Vickers to put a little bit of separation on him. It's going to allow Kyle Busch to slowly close in. Busch has a big run through turn 3. Kenny Wallace clear. Hamilton going to try the crossover, though. Top 4 within 0.6 of a second of the lead. Hamilton does get back underneath the 22 of Wallace again. So many lap cars right in front of the leaders. Kyle Busch to the inside of Kenny Wallace. Vickers stuck behind the 18 of J.J. Yaley. Really stuck behind him. Busch to 3rd. Overdrove the corner. Gets to the bottom just in time, though, in front of Kenny Wallace. John Hamilton's got a lot of speed. Almost got to the inside of Vickers. Busch had to lift to keep it off the 18 car as he dropped in line behind him. Yaley really struggling at the front of his race car. It looks like it's just shoving straight up the racetrack as it did in turn 3. It's done that a few other times as well. It's the highest Kyle Busch has been in the running order all day, in 3rd. Hungry One, thanks for tuning in. Hamilton is all over Brian Vickers. Bobby Labonte's lost these guys now, and Hamilton is underneath Vickers. In turn 2, side by side for the lead. Busch is unfortunately side by side with some lap cars, though. Hamilton out in front for the first time in the race, as we have 72 to go. Make that 82 to go. Probably easily use some of these lap cars as a pick as long as you can stay with the leaders. Cars getting all sorts of jumbled together. We're going to swap to Vickers real quick. I'm going to see if he can get back alongside Hamilton. Vickers is definitely struggling in the lap traffic right now. Vickers down low underneath the lap car. John Hamilton. He got stuck behind a couple cars side by side right in front of him. Vickers all the way on the bottom, but look at how low this lap car is running him, and that's going to cause him to make contact in turn 1. It's a little unnecessary, and that's going to cost Vickers a lot more time. Vickers is closing again, though. Hamilton again struggling to get by another lapper. And again, it's Brian Vickers closing. Back and forth go Vickers and Hamilton. Side by side for the lead. Now we'll go back to Busch. And Vickers couldn't quite stay underneath Hamilton into turn 1. It was close, though. One lap car between 1st and 3rd, but then obviously Vickers in 2nd, and Vickers going to lose the bottom to the lap car right behind him. Busch overruns turn 3. He's pushing a little too hard. That car that's about to have that rear deck lid go flying is on the outside of John Hamilton right now. 116. 75 to go. We could still see another engine failure that causes a major stack up. That could be a huge difference maker at this point in the race. Would cause another caution where we saw our only wreck of the day. Kyle Busch needs to start to settle back in again, though. He's starting to lose the top 2. Doesn't have any traffic directly in front of him either. Have to really try to dial himself back in. I feel like the car's gotten exponentially more tight all of a sudden. Backed the car up well that time in turn 3. There we go. Just got to find my footing again. Aggressive line by Busch in turn 3. Again, Kyle Busch trying to go for 3 wins in a row. 4 if he could somehow get the sweep in this doubleheader live stream. No lap cars between the top 2 again. We'll see if Brian Vickers can start to close on John Hamilton once more. Vickers with a much wider arc through turn 1 that time and turn 2. That's probably not going to help. Not diving that late into the corner at least. As soon as the 117 got cleared, the 113 moved up right in front of him and out of the way of Kyle Busch. No lap cars separating the top 3 anymore, and Busch is down to 1.2 seconds off. He was 1.8 back a handful of laps ago. Just seems like John Hamilton's getting through the lap traffic better than both Kyle Busch and Brian Vickers right now. Right front starting to wear out on Busch's car as he quickly gets underneath Vickers off of turn 3. Side by side for second place, and Busch is going to have him clear off turn 2. Up to second is the 5 of Busch as Vickers is starting to fade after losing the lead to John Hamilton about 20 laps ago or so now. Busch trying to press forward. Right behind Jeremy Mayfield in the 79. Have to follow Mayfield to get by another lap car through turn 3. Busch 7/10 of a second behind John Hamilton. Side by side lap traffic in front of Hamilton, but Busch is struggling to get by the 79 of Mayfield. Oh man, this is the time to catch him, but Mayfield is not letting the 5 go by any means right now. He's holding him up. Through turn 1, Busch again to the inside of Mayfield. This time he's got the advantage barely by a nose into turn 2. Cleared him. Mayfield trying to cross over. Busch almost went too far wide. Oh, hang on. The battle's not done yet. Busch scraped the inside wall in turn 3, and Mayfield just got back around him on the outside. Maybe. He's not clear yet. Oh, this is costing Busch a ton of time right now. Dropped 6/10 of a second behind Hamilton, just battling Mayfield there. And he's back to 1.3 off the lead again. Back to regroup mode. No fantasy drivers won a Busch race at all this season. Only 5 different winners. Although we're only in the 8th race. 9th race, I guess, technically tonight. We've raced 8. Great corner through turn 3 for Busch. Quickly to the inside of the 56. I just find it crazy that John Hamilton's literally passed every lap car so clean in this race, and Busch has just crashed, and he gets cleaned out big time by Brian Vickers and others. Had a flat line going into turn 2, and then he ended up into the 56 and spins, and he's got to repair that front bumper because it is completely sheared. Big hit for the 57 of Vickers as he got popped by the 22 of Wallace oncoming as well after hitting Busch. Man. It's a big mistake from Kyle Busch. And he cannot pit for fuel or tires, unfortunately, either. Because of bringing out the caution. Pushing so hard, just trying to catch John Hamilton, and pushed a little too hard over the edge there. I don't know how many cars are in the lead lap, so I'm not sure where we're going to cycle. That's excruciating. There's our 4th caution of the race today, our 2nd wreck in turn 2. Hey, we had a good race going there, too. I don't think there's too many cars on the lead lap, but, I mean, still, we haven't led a single lap today. We're going to get credited with one, but we haven't actually led a lap. And we're running out of time, down to just 54 laps to go. Busch gets to the bottom quickly on the restart, but despite being in 12th, you can see how many cars he's going to have to pass. And it's a lot. It ain't a little. A lot of 3x3 action going on just up ahead. Brian Vickers back to the lead on the restart. I didn't know. I entered so flat into the corner, so when I came up the racetrack, he was kind of there. I ran tightly too, but I could have entered a little bit wider and probably prevented that from happening, but I pushed a little too hard. Clint Boyer now to the lead for the first time today after starting deep in the field himself. Needed that restart to get back into it, and he climbs up a few spots. Still got a couple lap cars in front of him, though, and I think that's how he was able to get to the lead, and Vickers has fallen way back now. And John Hamilton, who looked to be the quickest car in the second half of the race. Shane Meal just about turned Brian Vickers off turn 1. Vickers got sideways. A lot of cars checked up. Kyle Busch didn't. He was able to motivate his way around a few cars on the outside. He's back in the top 10. Trying to keep that top 10 streak alive, and maybe things aren't over yet for Kyle Busch if he can get through this field quick enough. Shane Meal, and we've got debris up there. It looks like, not sure who that fell off of, but contact right before the caution, too, between Kyle Busch and Shane Meal, and the debris is off Brian Vickers' race car, so. Yep. What do you call that? That is caution number 5 in this race. And we'll try it again. I'm tired of restarts. I'm losing spots every single time. Green flag back in the air. Trying to get to the bottom. 133! Just about turned Kyle Busch. I think he clipped the inside wall. And we've got a wreck. We've got a wreck behind him. Oh, jeez. They were stacking up big time in turn 2. I thought. Never mind. It's debris again, and it's off the 135 car this time. 6th caution of the race at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway, and our 4th for debris. I think he clipped the inside wall when he ended up running into us. Every caution we get, we're getting more cars on the lead lap, too, at the free pass. Busch checking up. Almost turned the 113. He was just trying to get to the bottom. Desperately. Oh, man. Thought they were wrecking behind us again. They were 3 wide. Thought I saw contact, and we've got more debris. Another caution flag is out. There's so many cars with damage. Kenny Wallace now has shedded a piece of debris. Running out of laps. They're all clicking away under caution now. And Boyer's got to survive another restart. Again, green flag back in the air. Busch trying to get to the bottom. We've got another caution. Oh, man, big wreck. Going into turn 1. I think he ran over the debris. Yeah, the debris came off Vickers' car, and then he ended up running it over. Looked like he blew a left front and ended up spinning out. That was actually for position, too. Busch back to 10th. Green flag back in the air again. Lost count. What are we at? 8 cautions? Make that 9. Debris falling around everywhere. The debris caution's 250 at Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. There was actually contact with the 184 going into turn 1 before the debris came off as his hood went flying. A lot of the... Well, I guess some of the debris back for the lead lap cars. It's kind of been a mix, actually, the lead lap and lap cars shedding debris. Well, we have 9 cautions in the race now. Cautions are definitely breeding cautions. One way of putting it. We're down to just 29 laps to go. Busch to the bottom. Through turn 1, leans on the 139, trying not to lose a spot there. Bowyer holding on to the lead through all these restarts. And he's got 28 more laps to hold on. He's pulling away right now. That was probably the best restart Bowyer has had. At least since leading. Major stack up going into turn 3. Three wide dive underneath his teammate Brian Vickers and Brandon Miller. All for 6. A lot of lead lap cars got passed by lap cars this time, except for really the race leader, Clint Bowyer, and I think that's why he's pulling away. It looks like Bobby Labonte's back up to 2nd for the first time in a while. Labonte's back in it. Busch still in 6th. At least he's rallied back into the top 10. Again. Hopefully we've seen our last yellow. No guarantees. By the lap car of the 184, who just brought out the debris caution most recently. I think the next 3 cars are all lappers right in front of Kyle Busch yet as well. And a couple of them making contact in turn 1. Now the left rear is really starting to wear out of the 5. Definitely as old of tires as he has had so far today, and of course spinning during this run and on these same tires as well does not help. But he is fighting through it and trying to still get a top 5 finish. Again, he's finished 8th or better in the first 8 races of the year, trying to make it 9. He's in 6th right now, so he's got a good shot of doing that even after that wreck we saw almost 50 laps ago now. Well, about 40 laps ago. And when we saw it, underneath Jourdain through turn 2, has the advantage on the bottom into 3, slides clear. Nothing but 5 lead lap cars in front of Kyle Busch with just 18 to go. Big contact in turn 1 from John Hamilton as he got underneath the 32 of Shane Neal. Busch just overdrove turn 2 into the wall. That cost him a little bit of time right as he was starting to close in on the 2 cars that made contact in front of him. Now they both go high in turn 1 as they blow the corner. Busch to the inside of Hamilton. Man, all these cautions really took Hamilton out of a shot to win. He's outside the top 5 now. Busch is up to 5th. Big run on the front stretch as he gets underneath the 32. And Meal never got touched by Busch there, but he slipped way up the racetrack and nearly into the wall. And that's the easiest pass we have probably seen out of Busch all day long. As soon as he got to the bottom, I think he was just doing all he could to keep it off the 5. No clue where Brian Vickers is at right now. He's faded. All the damage to his race car. Kyle Busch almost underneath Kenny Wallace. Hard on the brakes to keep it off the 22. He doesn't want to cause another wreck and lose all that track position, go to the tail. A 3-car battle for second between Bobby Labonte, Kenny Wallace, and Kyle Busch. Busch underneath Wallace as Wallace goes wide in turn 2. Kyle Busch to the inside of the racetrack now. Overdrives turn 3. Still underneath the 22. Still side by side for 3rd. But these two are losing a lot of ground to Labonte and Bowyer. Busch runs the 22 up the hill a little bit. Busch keeps it off the inside wall that time. He is cleared for 3rd. 11 to go this time by. No, we'll be good on fuel. I'm not worried about it. If he can get by Labonte, we know how fast this 5-car is in clean air. But then he's going to have to pass the 2. Big move to the inside of Labonte. He kept it off the wall. 10 to go. Busch underneath Labonte into turn 1. Can he make the pass? All clear. Into turn 2. 9 laps to catch Clint Bowyer. He's 1.3 seconds off the lead. And Bowyer may catch lap traffic before the end of the race. Bowyer trying to go for his 2nd win while Busch is trying to go for his 4th and 3 in a row. Oh, Busch just overran turn 2. He's pushing way too hard. And now he's a 1.5 seconds back with 8 to go. He lost 0.2 that lap because of that hit into the wall in turn 2. Trying to go for a spin and win. That time he picked up those 0.2 he lost the lap before. I think Bowyer's going to catch the lap cars. And they're side by side at the tail end of the field, too. Busch with a little bit of a power slide off the exit of the corner. I don't know if he's going to get to him. If he can get close enough, might be able to rattle his cage. Busch has not led a single lap all day today. The most important one is the last one. But we're coming down close to it. And he is closing in quick. Bowyer's caught up in lap traffic off turn 3. 4 laps to go. And Kyle Busch has rallied to within 0.5 seconds off of turn 1. He's got about a minute to try to make the move for the lead. Bowyer goes wide. He's stuck behind the 18. Kyle Busch to the bottom. He uses the bumper. But couldn't stay with him. 3 laps to go. Contact with J.J. Yaley. He's up into the wall. That costed Busch a little more time. Two laps to go. Oh, contact! The 149 made contact with Bowyer, but Busch ended up in the wall as he got loose in turn 1. And I think that was the race. More contact with the 18 and the 5. And Clint Bowyer is going to survive and win at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. Busch put up a fight there, but just couldn't get through the lap traffic. Man, what a rally. Clint Bowyer gets his 2nd win of the Busch Series season. That was a good race. That was a great race. High intensity, to say the least. Yeah, so we got credited with 3 laps led. I didn't lead a single lap in this race. I don't know how I got 3 laps led, but I did. I didn't actually lead a lap, so for sake of the actual keeping track of laps led this year, I'm going to say 0 for this race, because I did not lead. But Clint Boyer leads 51 laps, gets the win. Kyle Busch got up to second, spun, got back up to second again, was within a half a second of Boyer there late, made a mistake. Really, same time Boyer made a mistake, but Busch's mistake was a little worse with 2 laps to go. They couldn't get to the bumper of Clint Boyer. I could bet I would have used it at that point. That comeback in the late going, but never got a chance to. Bobby Labonte started first, led 112 laps, finishes third. He dominated the first half of the race today, but kind of fell back and then ended up back in the top 3 at the end. Kenny Walls finishes 4th. He led 12 laps. Shane Meal led 2 laps, finishes 5th. John Hamilton led 29 laps, finished 6th. It looked like he was going to win there for a bit until we saw a lot of late yellows. Brandon Miller finishes 7th after starting in 2nd, I guess. I guess he wasn't on the pole. Labonte was. Sweeney ends up finishing in 8th. Joe Smith, 9th. Jeremy Mayfield rounds out the top 10. Our teammate Brian Vickers, who led 40 laps, ended up with a lot of damage after that big wreck at turn 2, and he ends up finishing 11th, unfortunately. And we had 17 drivers finish on the lead lap tonight. Let's see here. Aaron Crocker, Reed, Peterson, Shields, Irvin, all DNF'd in today's race, so it looked like we had 5 drivers who DNF'd. And we had 9 cautions for 27 caution laps, 17 lead changes, margin of victory 0.6 of a second, 1 hour, 33 minutes. Total time on this first race of our doubleheader tonight, average speed of 80.33 miles per hour. Again, don't go anywhere. We're going to check out the point standings real quick here, and then we're also going to run a second race tonight at Auto Club. Should have attempted chest. That would not have worked here. The corners are too short. I didn't really know how close, after messing up that second to last lap, how close cars were behind me. I don't think it would have worked. It wasn't even worth the try. I mean, there's sharp corners at Levi Strauss Signature Speedway, but there's the corners are sharp, but they're super short. They're not long like Martinsville, where it's more turn than straightaway on that track. More turns in general than straightaway because there's 3 separate turns on this track. But all right, well, yeah. Statter Bros 300 California 150 lap race coming up next. We'll be starting at the rear in that one. I wasn't gonna attempt it. Big picture, we gotta keep this giant points lead intact. We actually gained 40 points on Vickers with him finishing outside the top 10. Kyle Busch ends up extending that lead. Second place finish. Boyer finished in first. Closes in obviously on Vickers as well. Trying to catch up to him for second. All right, on to California. That's going to be tough to top. That was a pretty good race, honestly. And we'll see what the second race will bring.
EA Sports is proud to bring you live NASCAR Busch Series racing. Sunny Southern California is the site for this afternoon's running of the Stater Brothers 300, presented by Gatorade. The California Speedway is always a test. Long green flag runs demand focus and penalize the game. Pit strategy and fuel mileage will be critical for these NASCAR Busch Series drivers today. Track conditions are nearly perfect, and the start of the race is only minutes away. Let's go trackside for today's pre-race activity.
Want to check out my average finish real quick. I want to see if it's below 3. It was at a 3.2 going into the race, then I finished second. 9 races. 3.1. It did go down. 3.1 average finish through 9 races. That's just insane. Our finishes so far on this Busch Series season are 7th, 2nd, 1st, 4th, 2nd, 8th, 1st, 1st, 2nd. All in that order. I mean, we finished 2nd or better now in 3 straight races. 2 wins and a 2nd in that last race you just saw. And now we will go for it again. I'm going to take away the points standings at the top of the screen because those are not going to be accurate for the 2nd race. And we'll just get right on into race number 2. 83 Johnson, Jimmy Johnson? No, it's not Jimmy Johnson. It's some random guy with the last name Johnson. I'm going for downforce in this one because I do not want to wreck. Do not want to wreck at all costs. We're just going to have to rely on the draft to really try to stay with these guys. And we will go from there. Starting again at the rear of the field, and we'll see what race 2 will bring in our doubleheader tonight. Well, Kyle Busch didn't lead a lap in the first race of the doubleheader. Will he lead one today? Green flag is in the air as Kenny Wallace will lead the field to the green for race number 2. Power play goal for the Wings, awesome. I know Columbus isn't doing too good this season, so hopefully we can get another win tonight. Back to back. Another 3-game point streak, too, if they can do it. Well, we know the restarts are wild here. They were wild at Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. If we get any cautions in this race, it is going to be hold on to your seatbelts kind of action. Got really loose on the apron down there. I did not like that. I thought I could run the apron through 3 and 4 at Auto Club. I guess not. Not the Gen 4 car. And 4 wide, nearly into turn 1. They were 3 wide by the time they got there. There is probably 4 wide somewhere up through this field. Busch gets crowded by the 119. A lot of cars wide. Contact, now they're 4 wide. 4 abreast off turn 4. And Kyle Busch is already up to 26 as he hasn't made contact with a single car through 2 laps. There's been contact and a lot of 3 and 4 wide racing to the outside. There's contact that time, and we've got a wreck. And that did not take long. Caution is out. And Busch's got to go to the tail because he kind of caused that. He overran the corner, made contact with the car on his outside, and they were 4 wide with Mayfield underneath the 5 and couldn't hold on to it that time. Some pretty significant damage, it looked like, to that 173 car. 135 getting damage up on the top. He was one of the cars that shedded debris in the last race. And then one car at the very tail end of the field piled in late. So caution flag going to be out, and all those spots that Kyle Busch gained the first couple laps are gone with this first yellow. We'll have a single file restart coming up next time, but that was a sketchy start, to say the least. I'm glad Busch didn't end up turned because you need all the speed you can at Auto Club. We wrecked at Levi Strauss Signature Speedway, but we were lucky enough it's a short track, so losing speed, we didn't really lose any. But in this case, at Auto Club, it's all about speed and aerodynamics. Definitely don't want to have to end up coming back from a wreck here because I don't think we're going to have the same result. Like the Blue Jackets only because of the cannon. That damn cannon. Fire it every time they score a goal. Oh, Busch did not take off well on this restart. Really slow to get up to speed. Next yellow at lap 50, we'll see. May see a debris caution before that, depending on how hard that car at the rear of the field, ended up slamming in the back of the 173. Yeah, there's 3 elite teams in the NHL right now, and then the rest are just so tightly compacted together from like 4th through like almost 20th. I mean, it's super early in the year, so it's probably got to be that way. Yeah, Vegas and Boston looking really good too. "12 wins in a row, though, in the NHL. Yeah, that's insane. John Hamilton to the lead, looking for redemption after finishing just outside the top 5 at Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. It's like Lance Trigger to the lead in the 133 now. Top 10 in points at least coming into the first race of the doubleheader today. Finished pretty far back in the field, though, in that first race. I don't think he's in the top 10 in points anymore. 10 laps into the second race of our doubleheader. This could be a potential fuel mileage race today, anywhere between a 2 to a 3-stop race. Eric Crocker goes way up the racetrack, almost got into the 86. Busch trying to evade everybody on the backstretch. Wasn't sure if they were going to wreck in front of him or not. They did not. Crocker trying to block Busch. Kyle again overdrives turn 1. Into the same car he ended up wrecking the last time. Maybe it's just that car specifically gets us tight. R6, thanks for tuning in. Big block by Busch on Crocker, trying to hold on to 27th mid-pack right now. Kenny Walls back to the lead again. Nebraska lost again. It's been a tough season, I'm sure, as a Cornhuskers fan. Michigan squeaked one out against Illinois today. I was watching it on break. I don't know. It wasn't looking good there for a while when I went back to work, but I guess they won last-second field goal. Contact with the 21 of Miller. Busch clips the apron off turn 2 and slides big time, and he's going to lose a lot of spots on the back straightaway. Trying to move himself up in the way. He only lost 3 spots, luckily. Thought he was going to lose a lot more than that. Had a gap that he was able to get right back in line. Gotta be careful not to burn those rear tires up off the race car this early in the race. Especially the first run of the first race when you're already having to play a little bit of catch-up. Busch gonna have to get by Crocker again. Slip underneath there off the exit of turn 2. A lot of cars taking a very deep dive going into 3 on the bottom, all following each other in the draft on the back straightaway. McMurray goes up a little wide, 3 wide where he's at as he squeezes the 139. Contact, they're wrecking up on the outside of the track. After the 139 and the 18 made contact, they were 3 wide when McMurray moved up in the middle of the corner, but we stayed green. And Busch was able to pass about 4 cars off turn 4 to the inside. Sketchy situation there. Kenny Walsh is in the lead right now in the 22. Trying to get his first win of the Busch Series season. 7th in points is where Kenny came in today. And it looks like Carl Edwards is going to get to the lead in the 60. Busch up to 17th. This car is pretty loose, I will say. Doesn't help he did clip the apron once. Got a little loose off the exit of turn 2. Really burnt those rear tires up early in the run. Plus just all the amount of cars he's having to try to race around starting at the back. Pushing really hard from the start. He's definitely abusing his tires this way too. This little run for Busch to the outside of the 121. 83 pulls clear down towards the bottom. Busch on the outside through turns 3 and 4. First time he's really ran the outside today. A little loose with the car underneath him. Hangs on to the position. Big run to the tri-oval, and what a move. If he could pull this off. Timed that move perfect down to the bottom. Slides up just a bit, but he is clear by the time he does move up. He's up to 13th. Bold move paid off for Kyle Busch that time. Edwards got passed by the 133 of Lance Trigger. Edwards back to the lead, it looks like, as he is underneath Trigger through turns 1 and 2 again. Busch is about 2.5 seconds off the race lead in the 13th place position. His car is very loose right now. I do not like the way it's as loose as it is. So we're not even halfway through the fuel run yet. And the winner of the first race of the doubleheader tonight, Clint Boyer, is in 12th, right in front of Busch. Kyle going low underneath Boyer. Mark Martin in the 9. Up on the outside, 103's got a big run on the bottom. Busch staying in the draft right behind him. Makes the pass. Busch making a bunch of passes down to the inside in turns 3 and 4. That worked out beautifully, and he's up to 9th. All clear off turn 4. Just ran his fastest lap, 39.487 that last time. He's got a car trying to squeeze underneath. Busch loose off turn 2. Oh man, just slammed the car underneath him. Talk about stalling your momentum out. Now up into Boyer. We're definitely going to have to make an adjustment in this race. This car is way too free. Loose is fast if you can hang on to it, but off the exit of the corners, it is very difficult to hang on. Kind of feathered the throttle off turn 2 that time. Now he gets aero loose with the car in line behind him and scrapes the wall as he couldn't catch it. And again, Busch back to 12th. And every time Busch gets drastically loose like that, that's just eating away at his tires more and more and more lap by lap. We get a caution. I'm pitting. This thing is just... It is wrecking in the middle of the corner. Middle to exit. It turns in fine, but middle to exit, it is not good. Especially when I have a car behind me. Makes it even worse. Really takes the air up off the rear spoiler. Feels as if it's lifting the rear tires up off the ground. It does seem as if it's a little bit worse in turns 1 and 2 than what it is 3 and 4, which is the faster corner of the two on entry. And it's got a much tighter exit because of the straight back straightaway versus the curved front stretch. Definitely some moves being made in front of Kyle Busch. Contact getting into turn 3 up ahead with a couple cars in this next group that's well in front of where the 2, the 9, the 106, and the 5 are. As bad as Kyle Busch wants to make some passes. Oh my gosh, Mark Martin. Body check Kyle Busch, and Busch squeezes Martin going into turn 3. Saying, hey, what the heck was that for? On the back straightaway. Only for Busch to get loose off turn 4. Martin holds clear anyway on the front stretch. Busch to the inside, turns 1 and 2. Wiggling that car off of turn 2 as he clears Clint Boyer for 10th. Busch out of the gas off turn 4. Boyer going to get around him. Halfway on field, lap 28. That caution definitely helped this be an easy 2-stop race. We're just going to work with Clint Boyer on the backstretch. Pulls out of line late going into turns 3 and 4. Going for himself here. Hugging that white line all the way through the corner. It didn't get overly loose that time off turn 4. Clears the 2. Just got to hope that Boyer's not extremely close to him to get him aero loose this time, though, into turn 1. He's really trying to manage that throttle as well as he can. Does not want a chance for that 2 car to get close. The problem is he's still there, and the 5 is wiggling still as well. Rear of that car is hanging out all the way through 1 and 2. We're dirt tracking it today, boys. Ladies and gents. I mean, Clint Boyer's not even behind the 5, and Kyle Busch still gets super loose through 3 and 4. We'll take our first field pass of the race today. We'll go to the 57 of Brian Vickers. He is in 5th. Right in line behind the 22 of Kenny Wallace. Oh, contact. Kenny Wallace. I've never played NR 2003. Never really had a chance to, though, either. Vickers clips the apron off turn 2. His car hanging a huge left as a result. And he lost a lot of time now. Still remains in 5th. Definitely fell back some. Carl Edwards checking out on the field right now. All by himself. The car side by side behind Vickers. We'll go back to the 5 of Kyle Busch at the start-finish line this time by. Just got by the 120 of John Hamilton. Hamilton, though, back to the inside of Busch going into turns 1 and 2. Just trying to hang on to that outside lane, and he's just going to have to let Hamilton go back down in front of him again. Edwards definitely pulling away from Busch. Kyle desperately trying to make it to the end of the field run. He doesn't have to go all the way to the end. He's just got to make it to lap 50 to make it on 2 stops. That's what he's going to try to do here, because I don't know if he's even going to make it to lap 50 after that moment off turn 2. I mean, if it does that again, I'm pitting. It is amazing how loose this race car is. Yeah, we're pitting next lap. So if I don't pit, I'm going to end up wrecking. Kyle Busch going to be on his way in this time. He's going to let the 106 skip by on the outside. Busch back to 12th, and he's 6.8 seconds off the lead and falling. And he will pit this time off of turn 4. 4 tires and fuel for Kyle Busch. Definitely going to have to make some adjustments because this car is mad loose from the start. So 4 tires and fuel. Gonna put a round and a half of wedge into the race car to try to help tighten it up. If that's too much, he'll go back the other way on the second stop. But Kyle Busch is into short pit as he did not feel he could go any longer without risking wrecking that race car. And definitely wants to keep it as clean as possible. He's going to go lap down, so he's really got to hope it stays green. At least until everybody cycles through. Just going to work his way right back up onto the racetrack. Big run for Elliott Sadler. Busch is just going to block. It's nice to have fresh tires back if you're Kyle Busch, and now he's going to try to really take advantage with it. He doesn't have anybody to draft in front of him, but he's hoping the fresh tires alone can help try to make up some of the time. Again, he was 6.8 seconds off the lead when he pitted. We'll see how much he can cut into that. I would not doubt that he could cycle to the lead. He's got to have a better entry than that. Hopefully he didn't make the car too tight. My goodness. Way too deep into the corner in turns 1 and 2. I think I made the car too tight because now it's not wanting to turn at all as he gets up into the 83. Oh, brother. Yeah, this car does not want to turn. Look at how wide Busch is going off turn 2. Too much wedge. Had to do something, and what he did was a little too much. Have to try to manage that throttle a little bit better. Gets by the 79 of Jeremy Mayfield. Mayfield clips Busch up into the wall. Goes both cars. And we stay green. That's going to be even more time lost. Mayfield's still in the wall off turn 4. Mayfield was holding Kyle Busch up late in the last race, too. When he was a lap down trying to catch the leaders. It just shoves. I cannot keep the car in the bottom, and now I just turned across the 64. And then he hit me again, and I got loose again. This is a nightmare of a race right now for Kyle Busch. And that top 10 streak could be in jeopardy now. I'm regretting short pitting at the same time, though. I kind of had to because I didn't think I was going to be able to keep the car on the track, but now it's just too tight. I can't keep the car on the bottom. I tried to pull out a line to make a pass, and look at it just go straight up the hill. I mean, I was out of the gas that entire time. It's still pushed. So Kyle Busch is going to need a caution, and he's going to have to find a way to get this set up where he needs it to be. I don't know that he is going to necessarily be able to do that today. He's not even going to try to pass Michael Jourdain Jr. He's just going to sit in line behind him. Problem is, I'm just so much faster on fresher tires, I just can't get the car to stick the bottom of the track. He's trying to learn to drive the car, even though it's still tight. So he clears Jourdain off turn 2. And caution is out, but unfortunately, Busch is a lap down. Oh my gosh. Trouble off turn 4. Kenny Wallace has crashed. Our second caution of the race. He gets hit from behind as well after the fact by John Hamilton. And it looked like he just got loose. Multiple drivers struggling with handling of the race cars today. Not just Kyle Busch. That's the dangers of short pitting, but I just felt like I had to. We're going to pit again. We'll see if the rest of the field pits. We were just shy of being able to make it on 2 stops still. We meaning the rest of the field. Obviously, Busch was going to be 3, and they're all staying out, so they don't think they can make it on 2 stops yet. So they will stay out. Busch can pit. He'll take fresh tires out of this. Got to make another adjustment to the race car, and they're going to end up taking a full round of wedge out of it. 4 tires and fuel coming up for the 5. So remember, though, we do only have 2 sets of tires left with pitting now. There are a limited 4 sets, so Busch short pitted, use 1. This is his second set already. We're not even to lap 50. That could be concerning later in this race if he runs into any issues, but for right now, just have to go with it as is. I mean, that caution actually works out only because Kyle Busch could take fresh tires. He's still going to be a lap down, but everybody should cycle through as long as we don't get another yellow. Green flag back in the air at lap 49, and we're probably not far away from the field pitting as well. In case we do get a caution, Busch going to try to race his way back on the lead lap as he's with the leaders. Fights to the inside of the 133. Carl Edwards had a great jump. It looks like one car's blowing up off turn 2 back there. Drops to the inside of the racetrack. Truex has a run in the draft behind Kyle Busch. And Truex will pit, so they're pitting first lap after the restart. MC Video 6 for tuning in. Lap 50. You're just tuning in, this is the second race of our doubleheader tonight. Finished second in the first race at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. Clint Boyer got the win in that one. Carl Edwards leads right now in our second race tonight. We've had 2 cautions in this one. We had 9 cautions in our first race. And Busch short pitted before that second yellow came out for Kenny Wallace spinning. Edwards will not pit this time off turn 4. Busch to the inside. Can't clear him. Little side draft. Busch is going to cycle out ahead of these guys coming out of the pits. He's sliding up. Clears the 60. I do like the handling of the car now. We were too loose and we were too tight. It's kind of that perfect combination right now. But I'm not sure how fast it is. I mean, it was fast before. It was just way too loose, though. Honestly, I'll go back to that setup if we have a sprint to the end. If we have to make a late race stop, but I'm not doing that if otherwise. Martin Truex Jr. 4 position. Can Kyle Busch get around him as he looks low into turn 1? By the way, Brian Vickers is on pit road right now. Kyle Busch taking advantage. Clears Truex off of turn 2. So Busch should be able to cycle right back into this. The only problem is, him pitting under the caution, is he going to be able to make it on one more stop? That's the only bad part, is because he pitted first. So it's back to a fuel mileage race once again. Yeah, this is Auto Club. Exact track where Kyle Busch got his first career Cup win. He's trying to get a Busch win tonight. I'm so glad we had those cautions to make the adjustments to the car, because it took 2 adjustments to try to get it right. I think it's okay now. I just got to take care of the tire so it doesn't get too loose over the long run. We got to make sure we don't have any major loose moments off the exit of any corners. Edwards is into the pits now. That's going to be the big one, because he had a good jump on the restart. Is Carl Edwards going to be the leader when he cycles out of the pits, or will it be Kyle Busch? It's going to be one of the two. Busch did not lead a lap in that first race, despite finishing second at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. Edwards did stay out a little bit longer than obviously everybody else who is back on the track right now. So he might fall back in the running order just a bit. And actually, Shane Meal beats Edwards out of the pits. Great stop by the 32 crew. And yeah, definitely pitting much later is going to cost Edwards a lot of time. He probably has the fastest car in the field today, but it's Kyle Busch who's going to lead for the first time once they get back to the start-finish line. So Busch leads at Fontana. 95 laps to go this time by. His first lap led of the night throughout both races of the doubleheader. This one on pit strategy, but nobody else pitted during that second caution. Busch did. Took advantage of it. We'll go back to Brian Vickers in the 57 as he is on the outside at 6th right now. The 32 who just cycled out of the pits to his inside. He's got the 135 behind him. The 2 of Clint Boyd are also just in front. Kenny Wallace taking a deep dive, trying to get his track position back after wrecking. And Vickers is 3 wide on the top right now, almost making contact. This is a treacherous situation to be in if you're Brian Vickers. Oh, Kenny Wallace drifts wide into Vickers. They were 4 wide. No wonder he drifted wide. Edwards with the dive bomb lead into 3. Vickers shoved out of line and back to 10th. Luckily, no accident. We stay green, and Busch continues to lead. Carl Edwards is rocketing through the field right now. He is scary fast tonight. I'm hoping that we can keep up with him in the draft on the straightaways if he does catch us and pass us quickly, but it is going to be very difficult. Edwards going to get crossed over by Yaley through 3 and 4. He's getting some of his time back. And again, we'll go back to Kyle Busch in the 5. Six-tenths of a second lead still for the 5 of Busch. Sure, the car's still going to loosen up over the long run. Again, just got to monitor it. He's got clean air this time, first time today. And again, he can only pit for tires 2 more times because he only has 2 sets left. So he definitely has to manage these tires pretty well. Trying to break whatever draft Martin Truex Jr. may have had. I think the 8 car might be a bit quicker than the 5. Busch a little wide through turns 1 and 2 unintentionally there. I mean, he's gotten 5 bonus points. Truex has not led yet, but he is challenging. And because Kyle Busch doesn't want to risk getting aero loose, I think he's just going to let the 8 go. Try to save his rear tires, because it's all going to be about how well you save the tires. So Kyle Busch going to pretty much let Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car go. Busch leads another lap at the line, but Truex to the outside. Side by side for the lead in turns 1 and 2. Busch holds the bottom. Still holds on to the lead, though. Clear off turn 2. So Truex tried to pass around the top, couldn't do it. Got some cars closing in. Into turns 3 and 4, Busch kind of blocked the bottom on Truex again. It pulls him a bit through 3 and 4 at least. .90 laps to go. Busch is going to go wide into turn 1. Now he's going to let the 8 underneath, so Truex can make the pass there before too many of the cars further back really start to close. So Kyle Busch intentionally giving the lead up to Martin Truex Jr. And again, this is the hope that nobody else catches him from behind either. He's only got a few lap older tires, so it's not really making a difference, but for Kyle Busch's sake, he's trying to save his rear tires. That's the big thing here. Save and manage those rear tires if you're Kyle Busch. You'll probably have a much better shot to win. Best sim racing platform to ever exist. Yeah, I've definitely heard many good things about it. I just have never had an opportunity to play it. Going to help keep the 5 car a little bit tighter too, sticking in line behind Truex in the middle of the corner, especially if he runs the same lane. Bit wider than in that time. It does seem like the top 2 really starting to pull away, and that's big, again, because Carl Edwards, who has the strongest car in the field, these two can kind of tandem their way from everybody else. Take Carl Edwards out of it, because like I said, he's going to be the one to beat tonight. I think he's clearly got the fastest car, even though Truex is going to be leading a lot of laps now. My car's still a little loose, but it's not nearly as bad. I need that balance, though, because it was way too tight. It is definitely slowly loosening up, but it is not bad by any means. Just, again, got to really save those rear tires. That's the big thing. And have to make it to lap 100 if Kyle Busch is going to want to make it on field at the end of the race as well. The possibility he's going to be the first to pit this time. This time meaning the next set of stops, knowing it's likely the final set of stops of this entire race. Busch is still getting a bit tight on entry into turn 1. That's why he's up towards the outside. Farm Boy 2, thanks for tuning in. Kyle Busch is definitely a lot better in turns 3 and 4 than what he is 1 and 2. Very consistent on that end of the racetrack. Truex, a rookie in the Cup Series, not running all of the Busch races on this season. Still trying to get his first win in the Busch side. He's a couple spots ahead of Kyle Busch in the Cup side in the standings, and a couple top 10s in the last 2 races for Truex as well. We'll see if he can go for 3 in a row tomorrow at the Texas Roval. Tonight, trying to win the Busch race at Fontana. 10th race of the season. Kyle Busch trying to keep his top 10 streak alive. It was looking not so good there those first really 48 laps for Kyle Busch, but at last pit stop, they have made the right adjustments to this 5 car, and with the flip of a coin, he goes from a lap down to up to second, playing his cards right with the caution. Way out of the gas. Overdriving turn 1 just a bit. That time barely kept it off the wall. Hopefully he could stay in the draft behind Truex and doesn't lose him. Truex is going to go a bit wide though through turns 3 and 4. Busch may get back to him anyway. Lap 70. Really good corner that time for Busch. This is to the back bumper of Martin Truex Jr. once again. 80 laps to go. Kyle right back to where he was a few laps ago, which is all over the back of the 8. Martin Truex Jr. all the way up towards the outside. Kyle Busch wasn't really looking at trying to clear him. Truex still led that lap at the line by inches. Busch going to lift early and keep the 8 car in front of him. And Truex immediately goes down towards the bottom of the track to try to clear Kyle, as he did. Want to get side by side too often. Edwards is in 4th, by the way. I'm not sure exactly who's in 3rd, but they are both closing in back there. Halfway on fuel, lap 73 for Kyle Busch. We went green on that last restart at lap 48. So it is not looking likely that Kyle Busch is going to make it on one stop. So he needs to stay in the draft to try and help save some fuel, as well as just trying to save his tires so he can try to make it to the end of the run this time. I mean, this point in the run last time, he was wrecking sideways, and right now he's staying mainly stable. You can tell the car is still a little on edge, but nowhere near like it was that first run of the race from the start with the setup they had coming in. It worked and worked and worked on that 5 car. They've gotten it to somewhat of Kyle's liking. And they can kind of go from here now. Busch on the inside of the 8 of Martin Truex Jr., but he's going to lift early into turn 1 again and keep the 8 car in front of him. Halfway home, 75 laps down, 75 laps still to go. And a good race so far for Kyle Busch, all things considered. Good race day as a whole. It's going to be a lot easier to push the car over the edge, though, at this fast of a racetrack compared to that short track that we had earlier on in the night. Busch up into the wall off turn 2. Got back in the gas a little too soon that time. Especially with still being behind the 8 car. It's going to hurt those tires on the right side especially. Definitely can't have instances like that. Trying to stay in the trap so we can get back up there again. Two one wings. All right. Yeah, I'll definitely be watching the end of that as soon as I get done with this stream tonight. Big run for Busch off turn 4, quickly to the inside of the 8 of Truex. Truex got a little bit better of a run, though, off the exit of the corner. Busch has to sit behind him again. But again, that's probably for the better as he's trying to save some fuel. It's going to be a little harder to wait on that final run compared to this one. Again going low underneath Truex, side by side for the lead in the trioval. But Truex definitely has more straightaway speed than Kyle Busch. Busch isn't really lifting on the straightaways, and Truex is still right there. Staying in front. Kyle's fast enough to at least stay in the draft, but that's about it. He pulls out a line. It's going to be very difficult to pass off the exit corner. He's going to have to really try to pass going in if he's going to want any sort of a shot. Can alternate through the different camera angles for about 6 laps here. Maybe even a little more than that. As Kyle Busch sits in line behind Martin Truex Jr. Just really trying to manage these tires this juncture of the race. Match December 10th under the lights. Or night golf. Tiger Woods. Got to rely on the pit crew for Kyle Busch to have a clean stop. They have most of the season, though. It's a big reason as to why they're doing as well as they have so far this year. A 3.1 average finish through the first 9 races. It hasn't finished worse than 8th. 7 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and 3 wins. A couple of runner-ups. Even though it's the Truex and Busch show for right now, the green flag pit stops could really be the difference maker in getting somebody else back in this race, especially a guy like, say, Carl Edwards, He probably has the fastest car in the field. But Kyle Busch wasn't really kind of almost pushing Truex down these straightaways. He's not physically pushing him, but the air itself in the draft is allowing it to work as a push. Yeah, 3.1 average finish. 8th or better in the first 9 races. We have a 160-point lead, which is just over 1 race worth of points ahead of Brian Vickers in second after 9 races. Vickers is just coming off an 11th place finish, though, at Levi Strauss Signature Speedway, where Busch finished second, so he did gain 40 points in 1 race. A little tighter than that going into the night. I just want to see how long we can keep this streak alive to start the season with top 10s. I would try my hardest to try to keep it alive at all costs. I've never played night golf. I don't know if I want to. I feel like it'd mess my swing up. I'm almost kind of scared to play night golf for that reason. Oh no. Oh wow. Surprised that doesn't happen more. Kyle Busch is sideways. Locks it up. And gets slammed from behind. I was waiting for that as he came back across the field, and J.J. Yaley had all the time to check up and didn't. I don't even know how Kyle Busch got as loose as he did. That car hadn't been that loose the entire run, and it just randomly snapped out from underneath him. Just kind of cruising along in second, and now he's not going to be cruising anymore, unfortunately. This has been a roller coaster of a race. We started so terrible, and then we got it back to a good point, and now we're right back at the back again. And this is insane. How quickly this race has turned. That was just a big loose moment, though, for Kyle Busch. 4.8 seconds of damage. I wasn't really trying to pass him. That's the big thing. Third caution, rather, of the race. A lot of damage to the rear of the 5. Caution's going to help save fuel a little bit, but Busch has lost a lot of track position. His odds, not as high as they were. Green flag back in the air. Like I said, he was cruising right along. I'm not sure exactly how he got as loose as he did. He wasn't pushing hard enough to try to pass Truex, but still ended up losing control. These tires are toast. I mean, he is about ready to spin out, getting up to speed. Remember, he only has 2 sets of tires left the rest of this race. He's going to have to pit. Truex continues to lead. That is not a caution Truex wanted to see either. I'm trying to stay out in case we get a debris caution so I can pit under the caution rather than under green. I don't know if we're going to get a debris caution quick enough, though. That's the only bad part. Well, never mind. We did. Caution's out. And turns 3 and 4, our 4th yellow of the day. And it is debris off J.J. Yaley's race car. Big piece of that left front fender missing, but then his hood just came off as well. So now Kyle Busch can pit. He's going to have one set of tires left after this. He's still going to be short on fuel to the end of the race. There's no way of trying to save. And just like that, Busch is back in it again. We go from like out of it to in it to back out of it to in it again. Hopefully that's the last time. I mean, we still have to pass a bunch of cars. Busch is going to have fresher tires on this restart, which will help him. And he's got one more stop left. Glad I stayed out. Didn't pit that lap before like I wanted to. I had a feeling, I mean, we got hit so hard from behind. I was expecting Yaley to shed some debris, and he did. 3-1, awesome. Pull away. I'm just glad the Red Wings are fun to watch again. It's like we're actually winning. More than we're losing. It's been so long. Feels like it. Green flag back in the air, lap 95. 56 laps to go. Following the fourth caution of the race today at the California Speedway. A caution immediately on the restart as they're getting up to speed. Likely more debris. We'll see if it's off J.J. Yaley's car again. And it is. Now what, the front bumper's missing? Jeez. Looking like a modified out there. More debris for J.J. Yaley. Busch is going to pit again. I'm not going to take tires. I will top off. Because we need to save that set of tires in case we keep getting cautions. Well, you know... Yeah, we have to save those tires. I was going to say, if I just take them now, I have to save them. I have, like, not even a full lap on them. So, splash and go here for Kyle Busch as he has one set of tires left. Doesn't feel like using it right now. Because my luck would be that we get a caution with, like, 20 to go, and I'm going to be screwed because I don't have tires, and everybody else is going to have fresher tires than I do. It's going to get freight trained. So, we need to save them. All these cautions just baiting me onto pit road. Well, I mean, maybe he can make it on gas to the end. I don't think he will, but you never know. He's still going to have to push, though, just in case we get cautions. He's going to need all the track position he can get. Green flag back in the air, lap 99. $52 laps is what Kyle Busch is going to have to go with a full tank of fuel if he's going to want to win this race on fuel mileage. Again, we've had 5 cautions, I guess, now today. 3 for debris, 2 wrecks. Actually, 3 wrecks and 2 for debris. Got Kenny Wallace spun earlier. For one of the yellows. We've got cars pitting off turn 4. It's going to be really close on fuel for Kyle Busch today. Big block by the 157. Ryan Vickers coming into the pits. Now Busch needs to save these tires. 50 to go for Carl Edwards. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. He just came right up the racetrack as he's getting up to speed. At the 173 again. It's the only car we continue to make contact with under green flag conditions this entire race. Here's on the bottom of the track trying to get up to speed. Merging into traffic now. I don't know that everybody's going to be able to make it on fuel. Busch is definitely going to be the least likely having to go one extra lap than even those that pitted that first lap after the restart. Has to save these tires alongside of it. That's not going to be any easy task either. Contact going into turns 3 and 4. .39.3 at 4 that last lap. Fastest of the day for Kyle Busch. 3 wide move into turn 1. He's up to 18th. Well, half the field, maybe a little more than that, still up to pit. Something we all wondered coming into the race today if we would have it, and we seem to have it. It's a fuel mileage race at Fontana, but only really, for the most part, for one driver, and that is Kyle Busch, who pitted under that last caution when nobody else did. And now he's trying to make it on fuel to the end. Just ran his fastest lap again, 39.372. .52 laps is a long time to go at Auto Club on fuel. Just going extra low. Oh man, he got a little loose. That was a little too low into the corner. He's got to protect those rear tires. Four and a half seconds behind Carl Edwards right now. Oh, contact. Car in the wall off turn 4. Shane Meal takes the lead with Edwards pitting. 39.362 for Kyle Busch. That last lap, his fastest of the race. Definitely gained quite a bit of track position. More cars pitting. Off of turn 4, a couple cars side by side coming into the pits. Shane Meal stays out again as he continues to lead. 39.265 that last lap for Kyle Busch. Again, his fastest of the race. There might be a chance Kyle Busch is actually going to pit for tires. He doesn't have to put much fuel in it. He's gained a lot of time. This would put him in the strategy where he can start to go harder, because I don't know if these tires are even going to make it to the end without Busch wrecking, which would be big. And he's going to pit with the leader, Shane Meal, this time off turn 4. Trying to get all he can before hitting that commitment line. And he did a great job on pit road entry. So final set of tires going on the car here for Kyle Busch. He's going to top off to make sure he can make it as well. No adjustments to the 5. This is the money stop, and he gained a lot of time coming into the pits there on the 32. Now he needs a fast stop from his pit crew, so kind of going off strategy. I didn't feel comfortable that we were going to make it on fuel, honestly. I don't think we were going to save 2 full laps and have our tires saved to the end, because the tires have been falling off a cliff in this race. And there is a mistake on pit road. The rear tire changer having issues with the gun. Oh my goodness. Terrible break for Busch. 18.5-second stop. He did such a great job on his own right and his own merit to get out to where he was. That was not a smart move. A light flashed before my eyes. Dang. If we had a clean stop, if we only had a clean stop, but we didn't. McMurray got a lap led in there. He was the last car to stay out. And the money stop for Kyle Busch's crew was a big mistake stop. Martin Truex Jr. cycled to the lead. Edwards was leading before that. Edwards has been the one to beat. His pit crew has been that quick themselves. Busch is 7.7 seconds off the race lead with 41 to go, and I don't think he's necessarily got that quick of a car either. The hope is he can get a top 10 at least and keep that top 10 streak alive, because it's in jeopardy. This has not been a smooth race for Kyle Busch by any means. Neither was the first one, but this one a lot worse. I felt like I was at least smart in the second one with how I played strategy. This one, not so much. This is the last set of tires, so, I mean, he's got to push hard to get all these spots here to the end. This is the race to the finish. He's going to have to go 42 laps on them and hope they can last all 42 laps. We had a slow stop on green flag stops there moments ago. Final stop of the race. I mean, that's what really costed us. Trying to play catch up now. And the field was bunched together before the green flag stops because we had a few cautions come out right before the fuel run had opened up to make it to the end. But it's open. Everybody's going to be well good on fuel to the end. We went from like a fuel mileage race at the start to a non-fuel mileage race to a fuel mileage race. It has been interesting to say the least. Busch's car has been fast in the draft all day today. It's definitely one thing he's got going for him. Trying to just make the most of it. Cycle out of the pits in 34th. Again, about 7 seconds off the lead. That is not going to help run to the apron through 3 and 4. He's not trying to. But because the car is already somewhat on the looser side, that was not good. So that's going to wear those tires out a little bit earlier into the run now for Kyle Busch. Back straightaway's got to run. He's going to really hope he clears that 152 car going into turns 3 and 4, but he does not. Busch's going to have to be on the outside lane now into 3 and 4. Side draft off the exit of turn 4. Well, he makes the pass on the outside. Just took him an extra half a lap. Didn't feel comfortable trying to get to the bottom, though. Now with him still there. Busch can be well clear into turn 3 now and has to get to the inside. does. And also squeezes to the inside of a couple other cars. Oh my gosh, arrow loose off turn 4 again, and back across traffic, big crash. Couldn't save it. Good grief. It just snaps so loose at randomness. And it's just not controllable at these high speeds at Auto Club. My gosh. I think I'm just going to finish the race out with Vickers, honestly. He's going to have the best shot to win. I can't drive this car. This piece of trash car. It has been utter garbage from the start. And I fixed it. I thought I did, but I mean, you get loose once and your tires are gone. And that lap before, I clipped the apron in turns 3 and 4. And then that time, I got a little arrow loose with already a little bit of wear on the rear tires, and done. Oscar Ramirez Herrera, thanks for tuning in. We finished second in the first race, GC. Yeah, we're going to race as Vickers the rest of the way. Hopefully Kyle Busch can keep the top 10 streak alive. It's going to have to be on his own merit, unfortunately. Get up to speed here first. Lost count of how many cautions we've had so far today. And we'll go to Vickers. Not sure where he's at. He is in the top 5 right now in 5th. As we have 31 laps to go as he blocks John Hamilton on the bottom. I'm not sure if Vickers' car is going to be loose. It may be. We're going to try to get a win for Mr. H one way or another. And Edwards, who has had the fastest car in the field today, is up there. And yes, Vickers' car is loose. What is going on with these Hendrick cars today? John Hamilton was all over the rear bumper of Brian Vickers' race car there. And Vickers was as sensitive as could be in the middle of the corner as a result. Why? Well, look at it wiggle off turn 2. This is so painful. This is so painful. We have to wreck every corner. I don't know how I haven't wrecked more, to be completely honest. Who set our cars up like this? We need to bring Chad Canales back to the Busch series. Help this organization out. I'm just trying to make sure they're not on my rear bumper in the middle of the corner. Shane Meal was just about. It is a big-time race, though, at the front of the field, battling for the lead with Carl Edwards. Edwards making some big blocks. He's got the clean air advantage. He's looking to try and get away. Vickers staying in line right now behind Tony Raines. He's got a big shot to catch up to Kyle Busch in the point standings, and now he's in the wall off turn 4, so that doesn't help. They keep racing up there, though. It could keep Vickers in the game. Side by side for the lead. That'll help. Not sure. It looks like Mark Martin is side by side with his teammate Carl Edwards through the tri-oval. I don't know if he led that lap or not. Martin hasn't led at all today up until this point. So we have 27 laps to go. That just stings that my top 10 streak is likely done with Kyle Busch. Unless a complete miracle happens. There's no way I was driving that car back in the top 10. I didn't have any more tires left either. Nice clean pass through 3 and 4. Vickers clears reins. Got a little aero loose off turn 4. 33 on his rear spoiler. 39.167 fastest lap for Vickers today as he drafts behind Martin Truex Jr., as did Kyle Busch. Remember, Busch was in second for so long in this race behind Truex. And the car broke loose at random on him. With nobody behind him at that time, Vickers really chopped off the 120 of John Hamilton. Just needs to hope that he desperately does not get aero loose again. We're down to 25 laps to go at the line. Can Edwards get the win? And will we have another new winner in the Busch Series season? And can Clint Bowyer sweep our doubleheader today? Because he's in second. He's broken up the Roush Fenway Fords at the front of the field. He's in front of Martin now. Still in line behind Edwards. Vickers down low under Truex for 4th. Bowyer desperately blocking Martin. Vickers getting a nice little draft in the tri-oval off of Martin. He wants to be far enough ahead of Truex into turns 1 and 2 to keep from getting aero loose. Needs to just hope he picks a different lane every time. And Truex is a little bit too far back to get to the back bumper of the 57, or at least close enough to get him a bit sideways, so Vickers is up to 4th. That worked out perfectly. Problem is he's got a few more cars yet to pass. And how early is too early? Because if I get majorly loose just once, we're going to be wrecking loose the rest of the race. I'm trying to prevent that because the car's already loose as it is. I might just sit here and let these guys kind of wear their tires out, get them late. I don't know how late is the right time, but that might be the strategy. Clint Bowyer underneath Carl Edwards. Vickers to the inside of Martin. 2 by 2 on the back straightaway. Bowyer out in front for the first time in the second race of the doubleheader. Trying to get the sweep. Edwards to the bottom. Oh, he gets tagged by the 57. There's contact. Oh, they're all up into the wall. They're all wrecking off turn 4. And a massive crash as Bowyer nearly goes upside down. Oh my goodness. A 3-wide bomb, and Mark Martin got to the lead as he missed everybody. The whole field wrecked. Oh my gosh. So many good cars. I wiggled as soon as I got underneath them all. I got a little loose, washed up the track right into Edwards, and there was no saving it from there. Oh my gosh. We're going to have a late restart. We're keeping Vickers out there. This is the first time Vickers was actually scored the leader when the caution came out. 19 to go. Green flag back in the air. We're probably going to get some debris cautions, you would have to imagine. And Edwards is a rival of Brian Vickers. Can't say I completely blame him. And, I mean, that wasn't even intentional. I was so tight. Edwards is all the way at the back. Vickers got so tight getting in. Oh, we got a wreck behind. No caution off turn 4. Multiple cars got together. We stay green. 18 to go. And now the caution's out off turn 4. I think they're still wrecking back there. Maybe it was debris. I don't know. Whatever the case, this has just gotten nutty. And it was debris off Vickers' race car. Which brings out the caution once again. It is a story of 2 races. Mark Martin is out in front, though. He missed the big wreck. As Vickers went 3 wide for the lead, couldn't get it done. Mark Martin has 14 laps to get his first win of the season. Caution, debris. Oh, wow, Vickers just missed it. And then his hood comes off after the caution. It was already out. Tony Raines had brought out the debris caution there. Green flag back in the air. Got a lap car on the bottom of the track for the restart. 10 laps to go. Vickers blocking down into turn 1. Lapper pulls up in the way. Oh, caution. Oh, big wreck. One car upside down. Vickers blew a tire in the middle of the corner when he ran over the debris, and that launched the car to his outside, upside down, roof first, into the outside wall. And now Vickers is going to have to go to the tail. He's got a flat tire. Oh, what a tough break for the 57. Not a good day for Hendrick Motorsports, unfortunately. Vickers will be coming in. That was a violent crash. NASCAR 06 is a top 5 game among NASCAR games. I would probably have to agree with you, honestly. At least of the ones I've played. I mean, I'm just so loose anyway. It's probably for the best that I get tires on this thing. I wonder where Kyle Busch is at. There might still be a chance Kyle Busch can get a top 10 with all the crashes we've seen. We went from the highest of highs in just what was a good race at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. Dramatic finish. This one has just been a crapshoot from the get-go. I mean, this... Wow. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, yeah, Busch is still most of the way back to the field. He's about mid-pack right now, really. Green flag back in the air. And, of course, Carl Edwards and Brian Vickers are lined up nose to tail at the back. Truex leads on the restart this time. Green flag back in the air with 6 laps to go. If we get an immediate caution, it will not end the race. But if we get down under 5 to go and we get a caution, that's when we could run into danger of the race ending. Vickers has fresher tires than the rest of the field. Mark Martin to the lead on the restart, trying to get the win. This is going to shake the points all up. That massive points lead that the HMS Chevrolets had is going to be gone. And we go to Talladega next, and you guys know that I suck at the super speedways on this game, so... Things have gotten a whole heck of a lot interesting all of a sudden after we dominated the first 9 races as an organization. All it took was one off day for both of them at the same time, and then a super speedway to follow. We'll see. 5 to go. Yellow comes out. The race could end. Vickers, even with the damage, at least has fresher tires to kind of balance it out. Try to get as many spots back at the end of this race as possible. I may consider swapping to Kyle Busch on the final lap just to see where he's at. And no cautions on the final lap, by the way, if we do get a wreck. Didn't pit with the flat tire? I think a caution comes out if you have a tire down anyway in this game. Oh, you're talking about with Kyle. Yeah, I know. I mean, we could have tried to stretch it on fuel. I didn't think we were going to make it 52 laps, so I pitted. But yeah, I mean, if we could have been by ourselves, still would have been with a crappy race car, I would have had more of a chance of saving it by myself in traffic. A lot of blocking going on up off of turn 4. 3 to go. Edwards is getting quite a few spots back right now. Vickers got a little tight, middle of the corner, kept it off the cars around him, luckily, that time. I'm just waiting for a massive wreck on the final lap. That would just take the cake. We have to race back to the checker. I think Vickers should get back in the top 25. I don't know exactly how much further he's going to get other than that. Big run for the 57 that time, 3 wide into turn 1. Saw some contact up there, some sparks flying off turn 2. Edwards up on the outside. Vickers down low towards the bottom. Edwards is a rival. Luckily, he was on the outside 3 wide, so Vickers wasn't at risk of wrecking there. We have not seen Kyle Busch yet. Worked our way up the track, almost got in a wreck. We're going to go to Kyle Busch on the final lap. He is in 15th on the final lap of the race. He is not going to get a top 10, but he came a lot closer to what I thought he was going to, the way things were looking. And he's going to end up extending the points lead on Vickers. A few spots behind him yet. Busch going to get another spot through 3 and 4. That'll move him up to 14th. A decent finish, all things considered. Checkered flag in the air. Mark Martin will get his first win of the season. He'll be the 6th different winner. Kyle Busch rallies late to finish 14th, but the top 10 streak is over for the 5 of Busch, unfortunately. And, well, on to Dago next week. Take a look at the finishing results. Martin led just 18 laps, but he missed that big wreck, and that's what allowed him to have a clean car there for the finish. We had 10 cautions for 30 caution laps, 29 lead changes. Margin of victory, 0.2 of a second. 2 hours, 34 minutes total time on this race today. 116.5 miles per hour average race speed. Yeah, 18 laps led and a win for Mark Martin, his first of the season. He has 3 total now if you count the 2 in the Cup Series, plus his 1 win now in the Busch Series. Brandon Miller finishes 2nd. Clint Boyer has a great doubleheader today. He won the first race, finishes 3rd in race 2. Martin Truex Jr. ends up finishing 4th. I think he led the most laps. No, he did not lead the most laps, but he did lead 43 laps. John Hamilton finishes in 5th with 4 laps led. Tony Raines 6th. Shane Meals 7th. J.J. Yaley 8th. Irvin 9th, and Smith rounds out the top 10. And there you see Kyle Busch led 8 laps today, but ends up finishing in 14th. And Vickers ended up 25th after starting on the pole, led 3 laps. Edwards led the most, 58 laps led. Fastest car in the field, but ends up finishing in 27th. Got involved in that wreck late. And Vickers tried to go 3 wide for the lead with less than 20 to go at the time. Kenny Wallace led 10 laps, he DNF'd today. He did wreck earlier. I would not be surprised if the wreck he had earlier kind of translated in him potentially not making it to the finish. And then Elliott Sadler blew an engine at lap 50. Those were the only 2 drivers that failed to finish this race. Yeah, we'll never know if Kyle Busch would have made it on fuel to the end or not. Hindsight, I would have rather have tried it, but needless to say, we finished 14th. I mean, we still grow the lead on Vickers. I think Boyer might get around Vickers anyway in points. We'll check it out. But yeah, next race will be at Talladega next week. I think I'm shooting for Tuesday night for that stream. Yeah, terrible luck, 14th, honestly. I'm not too upset with it. I'm just more upset the top 10 streak came to an end. I wanted to see how long I could go. I thought for a minute there it was going to go a lot longer than 9 races like we had, but I figured Auto Club was going to be tough. I honestly thought the first race was going to be the tougher of the 2 races, but I stand corrected. Yeah, we do grow the points lead. Vickers still in 2nd, 193 back. That is a massive points lead after 10 races. We had a 3.1 average finish going into this race. That's going to drop down, finishing 14th, but we're still probably going to have an average finish right around a 6 or 7, though, to start the season. And obviously with 3 wins as well, it is looking very good for Kyle Busch. I mean, worst finish of the year, 14th through 10 races, I'm not complaining. I mean, honestly, even though we only led 8 laps between the 2 races combined tonight, it wasn't a great night. I still finished 2nd or the comeback in that first race, but this race I could not come back, unfortunately. I told you guys if I wrecked here, we're going to lose a lot more speed, and that was the case, and you can never recover, obviously. We were running so good, though, until we wrecked with, like, what, like just over 50 to go? We were in second. We had the car dialed in, and then once we wrecked, the handling went away again. I don't even know how I wrecked. I just got randomly loose off turn 2. I didn't have anybody behind me to get me aero loose. I just lost it. It was so random. I didn't feel like the car was getting loose, that loose at least. Like, it was loose throughout the entire race, but not that loose. Once that happened and I ended up wrecking, I mean, I was just damaged from that point, I think was the reason why we were as loose the rest of the way. Baker's got to talk to Edwards after the race. Yeah, hopefully they figure things out before Talladega, or things get even uglier. We saw some ugly crashes tonight. We're going to see even uglier crashes at Talladega if they don't fix that mess out. But still 1-2 on points, I guess. But Kyle Busch, man, he's running away with it early. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hit that like button down below if you haven't already. 27 likes on the stream so far tonight as we're coming to a close. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I'll see you guys tomorrow, noon Eastern Standard Time, as we will be taking place our Cup Series action with the custom schedule season at the Texas Infield Road Course, a fantasy road course on this game. I think it's like 226 laps. It's going to be a fairly long race, so we're starting it in the afternoon pretty early tomorrow as well, so we can get that done and get on with the rest of the weekend. Thanks, everybody, for watching. See you guys again tomorrow.